Hi, and welcome to today's Coffee Time Chat, where we get real and talk about things that we all know but don't really say. Forgiving yourself. Now, in the last short video, we talked about the importance of forgiving other people and reaching your goals. In today's short video, I wanted to talk about something which I feel people don't always talk about, and that is the importance of forgiving yourself. Okay, so what do I mean by forgiving yourself? Now, I've been thinking about it recently, and I feel there's a bit of a cycle where many times we blame other people, but we also blame ourselves for a lot of dumb shit that we say or do to other people or ourselves. And it kind of becomes this guilt that we carry around like a dark cloud. And I feel the longer we hold that in, it kind of becomes this bitterness. And I feel that bitterness kind of seeps out into our inward and outward relationships and interactions with other people. And the longer that we keep all these cumulative, negative kind of feelings in us, that can also lead to a lot of physical and emotional and mental sort of problems as well. Like I've heard it said, like the word disease, if you break the word down, it comes from dis-ease. You're at dis-ease, whether it be mentally, and that kind of manifests itself as a disease physically or mentally. Again, I don't know if that's true or not, but I did hear it said, do with it what you will, but I thought it's kind of interesting how it does have that link between what we're feeling inside and how it manifests outside physically for ourselves, but also for our interactions with other people. And here's the thing, you may be thinking that, wait, if I blame myself, if I have this unforgiveness about myself, maybe you've never even thought about it. How does this affect my daily life? But again, it kind of becomes this negativity that will come out, not only in your own thinking about yourself and other people, but also in your dealings and interactions with other people. Maybe you kind of take things too personally, you're too sensitive. Maybe you kind of in your interactions with other people, you kind of always have a negative downward outlook on things. And again, it all could be stemming from that unforgiveness that you're holding. And here's the link. When we have that unforgiveness towards ourselves, we don't forgive ourselves, it's almost like that emotional turmoil that we talked about in the last video. It takes a lot of energy and it kind of takes away your self-esteem and your self-confidence to actually proactively go out to pursuing your dreams and your goals and knowing that you're actually worth it and that you can actually do it. Here's something to remember though. We are only human and we are going to make mistakes. We are going to say dumb shit. We are going to do dumb shit, and we may not even mean it. It may not be intentional. It may just be something we do or say in the heat of the moment. But the point is, we need to let ourselves off the hook and not let it turn into that thing where we kind of blame ourselves and have that guilt. And once we let ourselves off the hook, then we've got that energy, that mental energy, the emotional energy that's freed up that we can now just dedicate to going after what it is that we want to do. Our interactions with other people will be more positive. Our own interaction and outlook and how we perceive ourselves will also be more positive. And one thing I will add is, in the last couple of years, if I'm truly honest, yes, I've also had unforgiveness, whether it be towards other people and also myself. And it does get to a point where it does kind of become this little dark cloud that you may not always notice, but it's kind of there, and it does kind of find moments where it comes out. And I found that since I've had this complete shift in terms of forgiving other people and forgiving myself, things that we talked about in the last video, I found that I'm more free emotionally and mentally to really think clearly about what it is that I want, my goals, my dreams, my desires, and to more proactively go after them. And I feel that never happened until I truly did get to this understanding when I'm forgiving myself, but also forgiving other people. And again, I know it's easier said than done, but that's the whole point. It's a process. It's not going to happen overnight, but practice makes perfect. And if we can kind of remind ourselves and kind of do this every day, small little steps, it will add up. And here's the thing, after a month, a year, you're not going to be that same person. Okay, so you're thinking, I've sold it to you. There's unforgiveness. I might blame myself. And I now know the importance of forgiving myself, letting myself off the hook. How can I do that? And again, it's easier said than done, but there are some little things that you can do now. Even if you Google, for example, there are a lot of different ways that they have out there, like things that are therapeutic that you can do to let yourself sort of forgive yourself or forgive other people. Some little things, again, not within the scope of this video, but some little things that I've tried before is writing down a list of paper, like I said before, writing down a list of paper. The things that you kind of blame yourself for and letting yourself go by tearing that piece of paper, and again, it's a physical manifestation. You're letting go, you're tearing that out of yourself. Again, you can, in a safe place, burn the piece of paper, and again, it's a physical manifestation, a representation that you're letting go. Now, another thing you can try, which I do find interesting, is confessing it when you're alone. And what I mean by that is confessing it to the universe, or confessing it to God, or anything like that. And basically what you're doing is you're vocalizing and verbalizing the things that you blame yourself for and saying, I let it go. And you're kind of letting it out. It's almost like when you admit things. And many times we are afraid to admit things in front of other people, but that's why when you do it alone and it's just you and the universe, you and God, you're able to just confess and let it go and unburden yourself in that sense. So that's an interesting thing that I did see online. It's definitely worth trying if you want to. But again, these are just some things that you can do to have that physical manifestation, that representation of me separating myself from the things I blame myself for and just letting it go. Okay, so that was my short video on forgiving yourself and letting go of all that blame that we have towards ourselves. And the whole point is, once you do that, you're able to free up all that mental, emotional energy to go and pursue your dreams, goals, and ambitions in a completely fresh way. If there are other things that you can think of that you maybe try to, like, hey, these are the tips or tricks that you can do to have that where you're forgiving yourself or letting things go, or just how not to hold on to that unforgiveness, definitely let me know in the comments. It'll be interesting for me to read and find out what other people think. And of course, if you agree with me, that'll be great. Put it in the comments. If you have enjoyed this video, definitely do check out the last short video on forgiving other people. And again, if you like this video, do stay tuned for the next video, which is going to be about not taking things personally, which sometimes is where it all starts in the first place. But anyway, thanks so much for joining me for today's video. If you haven't already subscribed, please do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.